Hello, hello, and welcome to the CX Fanatics podcast, the show that helps coaches, consultants, and speakers increase revenue, referrals, and retention through exceptional customer experience. Tune in weekly for insights, interviews, and inspiration that will not only catapult your profits, but also your growth. I'm your host, Elisa Connor. Let's get into the show. Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. This week we are talking all about the TikTok ban, isn't everyone? So if you're watching this episode when it was released, TikTok was banned over the weekend for a period of about 12 hours, maybe a little longer. But there's no guarantee that TikTok is going to stick around. In fact, a lot of people are ditching TikTok and other social media apps at the moment because they feel like they are being censored. And so regardless of what you're feeling about TikTok, this episode is going to be diving into why it's more important than ever to be building an email list, because it gives you the control over how you speak to your audience, when you speak to your audience, and you own your audience at that point, not some other social media brand, regardless of which one you use, who has their own vested interest in keeping your audience away from you. So if you are interested in learning how to grow your email list and why it's important to be doing that right now, even though you may be thinking, oh, I don't know, I don't like emails, I don't like to read emails, emails don't work, I'm going to debunk all of those myths and actually give you some really good, great tips on how to grow your email list and keep people engaged and build relationships. Because in reality, if you do any kind of research on email marketing, you're going to find that it has a 4,200% return on investment. Yep, sit down, folks, 4,200%. Hard to believe, but it is absolutely true. And so for every dollar you spend on email marketing, you can expect a $42 exchange in revenue. So without further ado, let's dive in. If we haven't met before, I'm Elisa Connor and I own Elisa Connor Consulting and the Profit Growth Club. What I do is I help businesses specifically who range between $750,000 and $1 million in revenue, who want to scale, grow, and actually take their marketing systems back so that they are working for them. A lot of times I work with people who have invested in all the things, have spent money on doing all the things, and yet they're not seeing any return on investment. I help them back that train up, find a plan for all of those things they're doing, and make sure that they are all leading to sales. So without further ado, let's dive into the content. So as we talked about, or as I just mentioned, TikTok was banned over the weekend, and it put about 1.7 million Americans into a tailspin, for lack of a better term. There are over half of America is on TikTok in one way or another. Not all of those people are creators, but the people that are creators on there rely on TikTok for their revenue and for their livelihood. So it was a big deal when it went down. And when it went down, it was ugly. And it's only getting uglier. So you know, if you haven't heard of TikTok, you're not on TikTok, or you don't want to be on TikTok, still stay with me here. Because if you're utilizing social media to grow your business, but you don't have a game plan for how you're moving those people off of social media, stick with me, because it's going to be really important, especially with all of the changes that are coming from AI and technology and all the things that are happening robustly in the world right now. It is even more important to have your audience available for you to engage with them rather than waiting for them to come to you. So, the TikTok ban was a great reminder that we don't own these platforms. We don't own this real estate. They are owned by, I'm not even going to say the names because I'm so upset with some of them right now. They're owned by the billionaires who own those social media companies. So you don't own any of your audience that exists on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or any of those places. You don't own that. The places that you own for your business in the world of marketing are your website and your email list. That's it. So the faster you can get people to your website to get on your email list, the better off you're going to be. Now, people don't do this well. They don't do it well at all. And then they abuse their email list. And so there is a little trepidation for people when I tell them that we need to be emailing our folks and connecting with them and reaching out to them. And the reason there's trepidation there is because they're trying to pull a fast one on people and get them on their email list, meaning they want to put something like join our newsletter at the bottom of their website and think that's going to drive traffic for people to sign up for their email. So I was recently introduced to a platform called Substack. Sure, it's probably been around for a long time. I was in the dark. I found it because I was looking for alternatives to be on for social media and just doing some research. And TikTok or Substack has a very interesting business model where you can go in and you can post, but you can also offer people a subscription to get your posts automatically into your inbox. So very much like an email list. However, if you move to a paid offer on Substack, it becomes very expensive very quickly. So even the social media apps are evolving to push people to get email addresses and names. So back to why people don't subscribe. We are in a position where our audience is very educated and very smart about their personal data and information, not just because it's been in the news, not just because everybody says they're protecting it, but because they have been scammed. They have been screwed, and 10 ways till Sunday by giving their email address and their name out to whatever and then being spammed with email. And so a lot of people do not want to give out that information, and they're definitely not going to give it out to sign up for your newsletter because they don't want another newsletter. Nobody wants another newsletter. They want something that's going to help them solve their problem. And so if you're putting it out there, hey, sign up for our newsletter, and that's what you have on your website, it's no wonder you're not generating leads for your email list. With that in mind, it's become a little harder for you to grab a hold of that real estate that you own. Is it impossible? No. In fact, I have a treat just for you. So listen to this message. One of the first steps to growing profit in your business is building trust with people that don't know you yet. As we talked about so many times on this podcast, people don't buy from people they don't know. So how do you build trust with them? Well, the easiest way to do that is by getting them on your email list and staying in front of them so they remember who you are. However, growing your email list isn't as easy as it used to be, which is the exact reason I created a free secret podcast for you to create an irresistible lead magnet. Because the days of sign up for my newsletter or get our insights simply don't work anymore. People are on to the shtick. They don't want to be flooded with emails that don't offer any value. So by taking the time to go through the Irresistible Lead Magnet training, you are going to get the step-by-step plan to create a lead magnet that people actually want and that they will exchange their email address to get, so that you're adding to your list, and then you have the opportunity to show up, provide value, and gain their trust. Once you do this, they are much more likely to not only buy, but tell others about you, about the lead magnet, about your business, and about whatever it is they purchase from you. So if you're ready to get started on that Irresistible Lead Magnet training and get access to the 5 specific step plan, as well as the guide to accompany that audio training, you can grab it today at profitgrowthclub.com/secret podcast. Go grab your copy, get started, dive in and do the entire training at one time, or split it up over time. The lessons are broken up so that you can go through 10 minutes at a time, or you can binge the entire thing and get it all done. I want to hear from you how your lead magnet turns out and what you created. So once you've gone through the training, send me a message over on Instagram or LinkedIn and let me know how the training went. Again, grab your access to the secret podcast at profitgrowthclub.com/secret podcast and get started on that Irresistible Lead Magnet now so that you can dive head into next year with a new plan of action to grow your email list, grow your profit, and grow your business. Okay, so now we know we have the capability to build not only an irresistible opt-in so that people will give us their email address and feel good about it and look forward to our emails. So if you haven't grabbed that training, go grab it. But let's talk about some of the reasons why growing your email list is a great idea. Other than you owning your audience in a capacity that you have the ability to get in front of them whenever you want to. Now, do I say do that in a way that's obnoxious or annoying? No. But a lot of that is going to become from knowing your audience and knowing as much about your audience as possible. And it's become not optional, but required for us to know our audiences and know where they are in the journey of buying from us. Some of the powerful benefits of you owning your email list are you have the ability to not only own the relationships of those people that have signed up, they have trusted in you, but you have the ability to continue to grow those relationships by providing value, by reaching out to them, by having them respond, by doing surveys, by whatever. There's a million different ways you can create connection, and this world is creating connection and community. And so a lot of times people will focus on the numbers. I have 9 billion people on my email list. Well, that's great. How many of them actually read your emails? And the likelihood is none. And when we when we go backwards on those numbers and we actually think about the number of people that you would need on your email list to make your revenue goals, it's a complete game changer for people. Instead of having 150,000 people on your list that could care less whether they get an email from you in your inbox, you have maybe 5,000 or 10,000 people that are looking forward to those emails and actually want to build a relationship with you. That is so powerful. And that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to be those micro niches and knowing those clients and being able to message them information that is valuable to them and on your timeline. Let's talk about mainstream media. Mainstream media is dying. Whether you're aware of it or not, it is dying. This past election in the United States has really shown a lot of light onto those mainstream media channels, and people don't like what they see. And so one of the areas that's really growing is independent journalism. And so if you, for example, put people on your email list and you're an independent journalist, you have the ability to go out and deliver to them news updates. And so somebody who's doing this really well that I found over on TikTok, actually, who is now not, he may be posting on TikTok. I don't know. I'm not on there anymore. But he's a young guy and his name is Aaron Parnas. And what he does is he sends out updates and he's doing it through Substack. I should probably have a conversation with him, but I don't know him well enough to say, hey, there's a better way. But the nice thing about Substack is you do have the ability to download your email list. And so what I would recommend is if that's how you're going to build your list, great. Move those people off of there as soon as possible and get them used to hearing from you directly and not through the app. And so what he does is he puts together a morning and an evening update. And I think I read today he's going to actually do a midday update because there's just so much going on right now. I don't know. I don't think this guy sleeps. But anyway, what he is doing is he's providing value to people. And then it's in the perspective of, hey, here's a quick minute of of everything that's happened, in the last 6 hours that you should be aware of. And it's going directly to their inbox. And so people are subscribing, they're loving it. Today is Wednesday, so it's been 4 days since he's been on Substack, and his subscriptions, you can see them have just gone through the roof. So I'm very excited for him. But what makes that really powerful is that you control how you talk to people. You don't have to worry about the algorithm changing. You don't have to worry about being censored because you said something somebody didn't like. You don't have to worry about trying to scrape your email addresses from social media. Like one of the places that people love to build their following is on LinkedIn newsletters. And that's great, but you have no access to those email addresses. So I have a client right now that has like 150,000 subscribers to her LinkedIn newsletter. And sure, it sends an email every time that she writes one. However, she has no access to any of those people. So we can't move them over. We can't put them into a funnel of any kind. We can't put our offers in front of them, none of that. And so it becomes really dangerous because you've built this huge audience who you have no control over. And so you don't have the ability to get in front of them when you want, with what you want, and you are a slave to that social media platform. So that's why it's really important to get people onto your email list. Besides that, I recently posted some statistics over on LinkedIn about not only the conversion rate of email marketing, which we talked about earlier in this episode. It's 4,200%. It's the highest of any other activity you will do as marketing, and it's been that way. It's been that way for, I've been preaching about email marketing probably for the last 8 years, and it's probably been longer than that. And so the other part of that is that one of the statistics I put in there was like 60% or 65% of people who make a purchase do so because they got an email. That's super powerful if you think about it, because when you're trying to track leads or sales from social media, how do you do that? How do you know they actually purchased unless you have something like a TikTok shop and you can see them go in and do that? But again, when TikTok went down, all those shops went down. All those people's livelihood went down. They didn't know when they were going to come back. And they still are in limbo with how it's going to work going forward. All they did was get an extension. So rather than relying on somebody else for your livelihood, your income, clients, or leads, start building your email list. So the other thing that I mentioned at the beginning of this video is that you only have 2 areas that you own when it comes to marketing, and those 2 things are your website and your email list. And what I see a lot of people do wrong, I'm just going to throw it out there, do wrong with their website when it comes to growing their email list is they either hide the opt-in, they don't have a valuable resource that they're giving away that people would actually want that would make a difference, or they are they don't have a way for people to opt in at all. And so when you're looking at your website and you're designing your website, a lot of times we need to take a step back and really examine why people are coming to the website. Like, why are they coming there? We just had a conversation about this with one of my clients, and the answers that people gave me were so interesting. It kept coming back to, it's our value proposition, and all of this like corporate speak that people love to throw around. It's how we deliver results for people and all of these different things. But the reality is that people are only come to your website for one reason, to find a solution to their problem. If you make it challenging for people to find that solution, or they have to dig through your website to find it, they will not. You have less than 8 seconds. It might be, I was going to say 3. We're going to be lenient and say 8 seconds to get what you want them to do in front of their eyeballs. Because if you don't, they are leaving. They will go somewhere else. They don't have time to dig through your website. Your lead magnet on your website is the opportunity, if they don't say, yes, I'm ready to buy, to say, hey, we get it. You don't know us well enough yet. Try this on for size. People aren't doing that. They're not using their website effectively, or they don't have a website, or their website has become a dumping ground for everything they've ever done in their business. And it's confusing. It doesn't lead people through the sales process. It's full of industry terms that people don't understand, or they're not going to go and take the time to decipher what you're trying to say to them. So it needs to be simple. It needs to tell people what you do, how you do it, and how you're going to help them with it, and give them the option to do exactly that, to move forward through the sales system. So getting people on your email list from your website, from your social media platforms, from however you are wanting to do that, is vital to growing your business and growing your profits and scaling and all of the things that people want to do. But most people don't want to take the effort to do it. In fact, the next thing that they do that is very detrimental is they'll get people on their list and they either one, ignore them, two, bombard them with sales emails, or three, send a couple emails and then just forget to email them again. And this is not how you build a relationship. Like, if you think about it, when you are trying to build a relationship with somebody, let's say you're dating someone and you're really excited and you get the first date, and then you show up and you see them at the table and you just don't go over there. You just leave. How do you think that's going to go? How do you think that relationship building is going to go? That's the same thing. If you get people on your email list and you don't send them an email, they just fill out the form and they never hear from you. That's horrible. Okay, so using the dating example, if we were to do that again, and you do show up and then you come on really strong and hard and you're like, hey, let's get married. And they're like, no, I just met you. That is the equivalent of sending slimy sales messages to them. You don't know them. You don't know where they are in the process. You don't know what they need. You know nothing about them. And you are trying to shove your solution down their throat. People don't buy that way. No one buys that way. No one likes it. They don't. Imagine going to buy a car. Do you like it when somebody immediately jumps on you and you get out of your car to go purchase a car? No one likes that, especially because buyers have so much power with the internet to go and do research before they get there. They don't need you jumping on them. And it is slimy and gross when it happens. And so building that relationship, especially digitally, is much more challenging than having a conversation with someone, because you are trying to build a relationship with somebody you don't know, and you don't have any kind of voice inflection or emotion or anything that would come up in a regular conversation. It's like texting. I had a conversation with one of my kids the other day, and we had texted back and forth, and we had discussed something that came up in a text, and he's like, you just said this, and I was like, oh, that's not how I meant it at all. And he goes, oh, that's the really challenging part about texting, is that I think it sounds this way in my head, but you meant it this way in your head. The same is true for email. If you are just saying something and you're just speaking it at them, your intention might be very different than the way they receive it, which is why it's so important when you're writing those emails to take into consideration every factor you can about your audience that you know. And if you don't know, that you are seeking the information that your audience is looking for. And if you're not, yes, nobody's going to buy from you. You're absolutely right. Because you haven't taken the time to get to know them and to get to know what they need. So if you want to build genuine, long-lasting relationships, you have to take the time and the initiative to be able to do that. And when you're sending emails and when you're building the relationship, you have to have your potential client front and center of everything you do. Instead of talking at them, you want to talk with them. So we have talked about the real estate of having and owning your own email list. We have talked about how important it is to build relationships. And we have talked about how important it is to ensure that you are making it very easy for people to opt into your email list and giving them something of value. So as a wrap, there's only two places that you own real estate when it comes to your marketing: your website and your email list. If you are building your business somewhere outside of those two things, you are putting all of your eggs in the basket of a landlord who can change the rules at any time. They can evict you from the platform at any time. And you're also building the equity in their company instead of yours. One last thing I want to leave you with is my recent experience and why I left Meta. So I was one of the original people who created a Facebook account. Like, my Facebook account, I think I started it in 2008 or 2009. It was a long time, and that's when I started my journey with social media. In September of last year, my Facebook account was disabled and deleted. No, I did not get any warning. I did not get any reason for doing it. They just shut it off. And I am what I have concluded is that a bot somehow decided that my account should be banned. But here's the thing. I know people in the industry. I know people who run ads. I know people who can get to people on Facebook probably more than the average person, because I've been in the industry for a long time. I know a lot of people that are Facebook experts, for lack of a better term. They could do nothing to help me. There is no way to reach Facebook. There is no phone number. There is no email. So there was no way to get my account back. And what was so frustrating is I had built a lot of business assets, groups, pages, all kinds of things on that account. They were gone too. I couldn't get access to any of them, and I still can't. So I learned the lesson the hard way. Not that I've built my entire business there, but I'm using this as an example of how quickly you could say something, or somebody could report something, or whatever it is, whether it was intentional or not, and your account will be gone. And so building this email list and building a connection with people through creating a habit in them to go to your website, check their emails, read your emails, things like that, is not optional. It is really important that you do this. And so I wanted to end with this story because I want you to keep fresh in your mind that if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. And I did not, there is nothing thinking back that I can think of that I did to bring this on. But there was no option to appeal it. There was no option to do anything. It's just gone. And so I decided right then and there, okay, I was done with Facebook. I was not going, you kicked me out of the pool, then we're done. I'm not going back. And after what has come out recently about the changes in what Meta's business practices are going to be and the things they're going to allow on their platforms, I am not going back to Meta at all. So you have to make decisions about your business and about the places you want to invest your time and energy and support. But with that being said, just make sure you have a backup plan. And your backup plan is to get people to your website and get them on your email list. So I appreciate you tuning in this week. Thanks so much for listening and for watching on YouTube if you're over on YouTube watching. And I would love to hear from you in the comments if where you are and what you're doing to build your email list. And don't forget that I created that resource for you if you are struggling with getting people on your email list. It doesn't have to be hard. You can create a resource that people want. And that's why I created the secret podcast for you to do that. So that's it for this week. And I will look forward to catching up with you soon. Take care, be well, and stay safe. One of the first steps to growing profit in your business is building trust with people that don't know you yet. As we talked about so many times on this podcast, people don't buy from people they don't know. So how do you build trust with them? Well, the easiest way to do that is by getting them on your email list and staying in front of them so they remember who you are. However, growing your email list isn't as easy as it used to be, which is the exact reason I created a free secret podcast for you to create an irresistible lead magnet. Because the days of sign up for my newsletter or get our insights simply don't work anymore. People are on to the shtick. They don't want to be flooded with emails that don't offer any value. So by taking the time to go through the Irresistible Lead Magnet training, you are going to get this step-by-step plan to create a lead magnet that people actually want and that they will exchange their email address to get, so that you're adding to your list, and then you have the opportunity to show up, provide value, and gain their trust. Once you do this, they are much more likely to not only buy, but tell others about you, about the lead magnet, about your business, and about whatever it is they purchase from you. So if you're ready to get started on that Irresistible Lead Magnet training and get access to the 5 specific step plan, as well as the guide to accompany that audio training, you can grab it today at profitgrowthclub.com/secret podcast. Go grab your copy, get started, dive in and do the entire training at one time or split it up over time. The lessons are broken up so that you can go through 10 minutes at a time, or you can binge the entire thing and get it all done. I want to hear from you how your lead magnet turns out and what you created. So once you've gone through the training, send me a message over on Instagram or LinkedIn and let me know how the training went. Again, grab your access to the secret podcast at profitgrowthclub.com/secret podcast and get started on that irresistible lead magnet now so that you can dive head into next year with a new plan of action to grow your email list, grow your profit, and grow your business. Did you miss something in the show today? Maybe you didn't have time to take notes or you're listening on the go. Don't worry, I've taken the notes for you. Head on over to profitgrowthclub.com/podcast. You can find the notes and all of the links for this episode and every episode. In the meantime, take care, stay well, and I'll see you soon.